Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Whitney Ward. We begin tonight with an update on the homeless encampment near I-90. WashDOT has now released new numbers, and if you take a look, the camp is shrinking significantly. We have the camp in different stages here shown to you on screen, going from extremely crowded and taking on more property to now after hundreds of people have moved out. Currently, 140 people, we're told, are living at that camp, down 60 from just a month ago. KREM 2's Nathan Hyun is at the camp at this hour. Nathan, as this camp continues to shrink, where are we learning that people are actually moving to?
Whitney, that's right. The camp behind me has seen a large amount of people move out within just the last couple of weeks. Many of them are moving into the Catalyst project, while others are moving into emergency transitional housing. The majority of emergency transitional housing includes the Revive House, Compassionate Addiction Houses, and Jewel Helping Hands greenhouses, which are housing units they own. These are co-housing options, which allows more occupancy. There were more than 400 people at the camp just 2 months ago. Now, that number has decreased by more than half. For people that are still at the camp, they're encouraged seeing their peers find better opportunities.
It's a lot different. I can see us not being here for much longer, but I think it's been we've walked into a positive direction with what we're doing. I think we're sticking to our guns, and we're all trying to get housing like we wanted to.
The Empire Health Foundation says that there still isn't enough housing to fit everyone's needs. They're working on a variety of new housing options, and in the meantime, they're providing their services to people still living at the camp. So WashDOT says that 51 people are moved into the Catalyst project, and they actually just started new intake today as more rooms open up. Live in Spokane, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
Nathan, thank you. And happening right now, a dedication for Lauren McCluskey underway at the U of I Kibbe Dome. The track is now being named in her honor. It was in October of 2018. Lauren was killed while attending the University of Utah. That was after reporting to campus police that her ex-boyfriend was harassing and stalking her. After her death, Lauren's parents settled for nearly $14 million with the university, with $1 million of it being used to resurface a track in honor of her at the U of I Kibbe Dome. KREM 2's Travis Green spoke with Lauren's parents over the summer about what this means to them.
Lauren McCluskey's life was taken far too soon. Now her family's making sure that her name and story isn't forgotten. On a track she grew up running on, you will now see Lauren's name on a state-of-the-art surface.
It means a lot, and to have her name here in this track, it was something that she loved, and other students passing through will learn about her story. And so I think it's, you know, obviously bittersweet, but it's something that this makes us very happy.
A surface Lauren would have been thrilled to compete on.
Top notch. Yeah, this is the best. This is the best in the business. Yeah, it doesn't get better than this.
Now features her name. Before she went on to be a decathlete at the University of Utah, Lauren practiced here in the Kibbe Dome, a place that she held close to her heart.
Starting from when she was really young, she would come here in the winter when there was snow on the ground and work out here, and she was always welcome, and she would just love to see these improvements.
While she's not able to see it, her spirit is still felt.
I told the family this morning, I think she's just running around on this track smiling.
Lauren's presence is here, and that's another, you know, great part of this whole facility.
Along with the new surface is brand new lighting, turning the Kibbe Dome into one of the better indoor track and field venues in the country. Reporting from Moscow, Travis Green, KREM 2 Sports.
And we are continuing to follow the dedication, which is going on right now. We will bring you more coverage coming up tonight on KREM 2 News at 6. And in our effort to bring you more to every story, we, along with 19 other media organizations, are pushing for more transparency in the investigation into the University of Idaho murders from November. We're asking a judge to narrow the scope of the gag order in this case. As we first reported yesterday, the judge expanded the order to attorneys who are representing the families of the victims, as well as witnesses and survivors. We believe that you have a right to hear from police and other officials. To be clear, KREM 2 has no interest in releasing information that could jeopardize this case, but we do have specific questions about public safety in the days and weeks following those murders, specifically campus safety in both Moscow and Pullman while searching for the suspect. The gag order right now is preventing them from answering any of those questions, so we will make sure to keep you updated on the progress. In the meantime, Idaho Governor Brad Little says he had some sleepless nights after those murders near the U of I campus, especially as the investigation and search for the killer kicked into high gear. Governor Little allocated $1 million in state emergency funds to help pay for the cost of the all-encompassing investigation. Little sat down with our sister station in Boise to talk about his involvement in the case.
We pray and hope that nothing even remotely close to this ever happens again, because the city of Moscow was just overwhelmed.
The governor went on to praise the Moscow Police Department for their work on this investigation, saying it sets an example for future investigations as well. Little also criticized how the murder was covered by national media outlets, saying they did, quote, shoddy work trying to stir things up. We now want to check in on our Friday forecast. We saw some pretty dense fog in parts of the area. I had about 12 or 13 snowflakes on my back porch. Our meteorologist Michelle Boss is joining us now from the Weather Center. How's it looking for the weekend?
We do have a chance to see some patchy morning freezing fog and fog. But before we go into the weather forecast, I want to talk about a radar outage at the Spokane National Weather Service. I know a lot of folks use apps. Of course, obviously, we show radar and satellite here on our broadcast, but our Spokane radar is going to be down for the next week. So as you take a look, we are surrounded by other radars in Missoula, Pendleton, Seattle, and Portland, which can sometimes pick up a little bit of the precipitation in the Spokane vicinity. But because of mountains, we don't have the best coverage. So while we are expecting some snow on Saturday, it's going to be really hard to pick up that snow on radar without having the radar in Spokane, and your apps and all of your radar apps will also not be able to show much precipitation for the next week. We do have satellite though, and so we are picking up quite a bit of cloud cover across the inland northwest. You may have seen a few peaks of sunshine today. We aren't expecting any snow till late in the day on Saturday, but the mountains could see some heavier snow as early as tomorrow morning, and temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler than what we've had over the past week. We're at 30 right now in Spokane, 36 in Moses Lake, one of the warm spots being down south in Lewiston and Walla Walla. We do expect temperatures to head back down into the 20s. Could see some patchy fog, otherwise partly cloudy skies, and then some snow late in the day tomorrow. Very light accumulation, should be under an inch in Spokane. We'll clear it out on Sunday and look for highs both days in the mid-30s.
All right, Michelle, thank you. A water boil order is expected to remain in effect for parts of the city of Lewiston throughout the weekend. This comes after that reservoir failed early Wednesday morning. 3 million gallons of water flooded city streets and neighborhoods, washing away parts of homes, streets, and sidewalks. The water has been tested. We're told no contaminants have been found, but that boil advisory is still in place as a precaution. A bill moving through the Washington legislature could change zoning rules statewide. It's an effort to combat the state's housing crisis. If it's passed, this bill means multifamily apartments like duplexes or fourplexes could be built in areas that were previously only zoned for single-family homes. That's for cities with 6,000 people or more, including here in Spokane. Here in Spokane, the City Council has already taken steps locally to allow fourplexes citywide as part of a pilot program. Councilmember Zach Sapone testified to the House Housing Committee just last week, saying the rest of the state needs to follow that example.
Housing is a regional crisis. Spokane can't do this alone. It doesn't meet the scales of the problem. We got to do this across the region and make sure that every community in our region is on board and not just Spokane.
Now, a similar bill last year failed, opponents saying local governments should make the zoning decisions and that a statewide mandate is not the way to go. We'll keep you posted on that as well. Firefighters continue to investigate the cause of a deadly fire that broke out in Deer Park early this morning. According to officials, one person was killed after a call came in just before 4 a.m. About 20 firefighters worked to put out the flames. The house, though, was largely destroyed. Neighbors said no one else lived inside this home, but this is an active investigation and we'll continue to bring you more as we have it. From immunity to federal court, Boeing now facing criminal charges in the deaths of 346 people. This is after 2 crashes between 2018 and 2019, which grounded the Boeing 737 MAX jets. Boeing was originally granted immunity from the Justice Department. However, a federal judge in Texas just ruled the company can be criminally charged. Another significant update, the victims' families were granted crime victim status, which means they have legal rights, including the ability to reject a plea bargain.
Underlying all this is the fact that Boeing cut a sweetheart deal with the Department of Justice. Remember, 346 people are dead because of Boeing's aircraft. They haven't been held fully accountable for that. What the victim families are likely going to do now is use their status, their legal rights, to object to that deferred prosecution, that sweetheart deal that Boeing has with the Department of Justice.
Now, it is important to note this is incredibly rare in U.S. aviation law history. It's rare that a corporation is arraigned on criminal charges regarding the deaths of plane crash victims.